In this video, I'm going to be showing you the workflow and process to recreate the vocal chopping and screwing pattern used in Crash by Neovi, using the Watamote ending theme's vocals. So here's the vocal chop and screw pattern that I'm attempting to recreate. So the first step is, what is your vocal sample that you were working with? In my case, I used the chorus. Those delays are my own. So I chose the chorus here because you don't want to have too large of a sample size, because when you bring it into your Slicex software, you're going to have a not very good time, scouring through the whole song to find the samples that you want. Instead, I limited it to a certain pool, which was the chorus. Essentially, I wanted to find notes that were whole notes where a pitch could easily be defined, and I was just kind of making this quickly, so I just brought it into Slicex. I essentially just extracted this using Edison, and you can work with a nice isolated file, or rather a segmented file, to bring into Slicex, so you don't have like a zillion markers here. In this case, I used medium auto slicing. If I were to make this more of like a serious upload and I wanted to really spend a lot of time with it, I would adjust the markers here so that the markers would actually eat into the sound wave at a nice chunk right here, rather than having a little bit of nothingness here that would cause the chop pattern to be a little delayed. So when it comes to recreating the vocal chop, I took the song and I split it into the instrumental and the acapella. This isn't really necessary, but I found it helped me. To split it, I used lalala.ai or lalalal.ai, and this is pretty good. It's like it gives you about 10 minutes for free. It's just a browser thing, so it's really quick. So what I'm looking for here is to not necessarily get the pitch. Like, yes, there are ways to organize the pitch using Slicex and to throw it into the piano roll, but in this case I just wanted to get the sounds correct, and by sounds I mean like the the vowels and the consonants. So here's what it sounds like on its own. Well, actually I have Melodyne here, so without pitching, and then I had the vocals, the vocal chop to kind of compare. In this case, I routed the acapella to FX6 and I ran it through Melodyne. This is a very lazy way of determining what note is which. Realistically, if I had more time, if I wanted to spend more time with it, I'd use a piano. I know that the song is in B minor, so stuff like this, like right here, the note F isn't actually in B minor, because if you start at B, step, half, step, step, it would be probably an F sharp. But looking at how this thing has kind of ramped up, it's there's a lot of pitch bending involved with it. So in this case, you could use Melodyne, or you could use something like Newtone or your preferred pitching plugin. If you were to use Newtone, essentially you would isolate this using Edison, and then you would just kind of like drop it into Newtone's window. In my case, I brought it through Melodyne, and I just kind of pitched it according to the original. So I had one Melodyne here, and I used another Melodyne here. Realistically, this isn't really good practice, but it's just a way to just quickly throw some vocal chopping and screwing on it. So stuff like this. See, I brought it to like the F sharp, and then I pitched all of it. Essentially, without any effects, it would sound like this. Let me get rid of that. And with Melodyne, it sounds like this. And with some delay, reverb, and OTT. OTT is not native to FL Studio, but it's what a lot of trap producers use to make their vocals really crispy. You could use a distortion plugin, or like use like a high pass or something, and from there it sounds like this. So I hope that gave a little bit of insight as to how my kind of thought and workflow is. Just really quickly, you look at your sample size, you say, hey, I want to get the vocals from here, make sure there's no overlapping vocals. You bring that into Slicex, or you could even just chop it manually in your workspace here. You chop it and then you run it through, New Tone. You'd kind of segment it using Edison, then you drop it into New Tone and pitch it, or you can just use Melodyne and just kind of like, just run with it using a recording. And then you would pitch it, and you would want to get all the notes that have nice vowels and nice notes, whole notes that you can just like pitch at ease. So that's the end of this tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know, but I just found that this drop was kind of interesting to show how I would quickly produce vocal chopping and screwing. That's it. See ya.